Not sure who has them, but oh, there we go. Now now. Uh-oh, Paige, that secret's real. Now it's being recorded. Here we go. Here's our master agency call. It is the Lappin Felix Durgan ellefson master agencies, and damn glad to be here on February 9th. Let's roll. Let's keep this show rolling. All right. For this week, our performers are Olivia, one application for 291. Brandon, one application for 301 APV. Kristen, one app for 433. Tamar with one, and she knows why I'm saying that. That's funny. Um, one app for 448. Georgina, one app for 1067 APV. Miss Ibblewood, one app for 1565. Yours truly, with what might be the worst week I've had in like 15 weeks, but one app for 1960. It happens, right? Rafa, one app. Holy Moses, if you're going to write one app, write this one 44, 47, 92 in APV, unless you're John Mayura, which let me tell you a little story. He's not on here. He's figuring out the rest of his work and doing all this, but um, fought through everything and is figuring out this process and got a couple declines, but we went with a guaranteed issue, got through it. One application for 5423 APV. Right after that, he booked his hotel, he booked his air flight. He already had a ticket to Ignite. So now Ignite's all taken care of. Just awesome to see his progress. I wish he was on here to celebrate him even more, but and look at you, Paige. 10 apps for 12,282 APV. That is incredible. If you're at the new contract level and you've never seen that number, divide that number in half. At the starting contract level, which Paige is not, that would be over $6,000 deposited into the bank account in 1 week. Put a six in the chat if $6,000 would change your life in 1 week going into your bank account. And I'll be the first one to type because that's awesome. That's what it's all about, right? For our team, the Durgan ellefson for the week, 13 applications, 21,957 in APV. And for the Felix team, four applications for 6265 APV. And that does mirror what it is for the month. So next slide. Congrats, everybody. We're gonna give you the secret on how to get on that leaderboard too. Bridget, you want to take this one?
Sure, guys. This is slide where if you're building a team, you're building a legacy. It's not all on you. The numbers will start here, and then they'll funnel through. So for last week, I had a conversation. James had three, Margaret had eight about the opportunity. Now, what does that look like? Well, just like I mentioned with Tamar, she sent out texts to people she knows. Maybe she kind of knew them. They were in her phone book or someone she worked with. Couple of quick videos. Hey, have a look, tell me what you think. That's all we did. Anybody that said, hey, this looks pretty cool, what's it about? Tamar got me into the conversation. I took it from there. So if you're new, you don't need to know all the answers. You don't need to have this big success out of the gate. You need to just have the conversation. And so this is where, if you like the idea of being able to take time off and, still have income coming in, your name will be on this slide moving forward.
Oh, Paige, you got this one. I'm kidding. That's awful. We need more new writers. Come on, find some people. Hey, for all of you on this call, you have one good person that you know. You have one person that's as cool as you are, that's as good a person as you are, that you can share this opportunity with. There's the challenge, never to have this empty again. Next slide. Paige, you want to do?
That's
There we
right.
go.
That's right. And if you know, you know, right? You're in this workroom already, so you know that it's here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. It's your opportunity to come in, listen to other people in action, also work and have others listen to you in action. That's the quickest way to learn is just get uncomfortable, be in the mix, be close to the fire, as we like to say. So we're here for you. Whatever you're looking for, pop in here, check out the breakout rooms, keep cruising through it till you find what you need. There's always someone in here working. And again, that's why we do this. We're not in an office. We don't have to drive anywhere. We don't have to commute. We don't have to do anything like that, but we do get to still work connected together. So that's what this is for. Come join if you want that opportunity.
And here's our weekly call schedule. This is posted on Teams, I believe. Won't go through it all, but every day we have some sort of team event to plug into, whether it's training, whether it's inspiration, aspiration. It's all right here. I highly recommend the Tuesday and Thursday huddles. Those are awesome, just like today's huddle. So there you go. Oh, and shameless plug, if you haven't registered for the Simmies are this Wednesday. It's the National Awards show for symmetry. They're called the Simmies. You do need to register. You need a link, even if you're not an agent. But so there you go. That starts at 12:30, I believe, on Wednesday. I don't think they changed the time. I think it starts at 12:30. So yeah, there we go. So let's dive into this. I teased it with a secret. We'll get to that in the second page. But somewhere right now, maybe somebody on this leaderboard page is having the best financial year of their life. You saw it on the leaderboards. Someone is changing their family tree, and someone is becoming the leader they once needed. And maybe somebody is slowly taking themselves out of the life that they're capable of. The difference between those two people, it's not talent, it's not intelligence, it's not luck, it's one word: consistency. It's not intensity, it's not hype, not motivation, because motivation is emotional, emotions are unreliable. You do not build a great life on emotions. You build it on standards. And most people are waiting to feel ready. Winners decide, and then they show up, ready or not. So before we go any farther, I want you to answer this question silently. Am I interested in success, or am I committed to it? Am I interested in success, or am I committed to it? Because interested people show up when it's convenient. Committed people show up when it's uncomfortable. And the life you want, it's built by the version of you that shows up on the days you don't like it. You know, we always talk about why the people who win are simply the ones who refuse to stop climbing. And what I mean by that is this, right? I'm gonna start. Oh, let's see if I can do. There we go. Paige, you ready? Ready for the secret? There is no
Ready.
secret. There is no secret. People, people winning, people are winning in this business. People are building lives. People are creating freedom. They're not more talented. They're just more consistent. It has always been consistency over intensity, fundamentals over fads, progress over perfection, over and over and over again. You know, this is where most people think success lives. But let me tell you something. People don't realize you don't live at the top of the mountain. You live on the climb. The quality of your life is determined how much you learn to love the climb. I'll repeat that. The quality of your life is determined how much you learn to love the climb. Because the secret is there is no secret. It is all, like I said again, it's always consistency over intensity. We've been conditioned to worship this moment, the medal, the promotion, the leaderboard, the rank. But listen, the peak is not the point. It's who you come on the way up. That's the point. If you only allow yourself to be happy when you reach the summit, you're volunteering for a miserable climb. I mean, I don't know about you. I love the mountaintop. I love the trophy, the promotion, the income, the recognition. I do. But you're going to spend 99% of your life on the side of the mountain. And if you don't learn to love the climb, you're never going to stay long enough to see the view. The rush is not the peak. The rush is the climb. We always say, fall in love with the process, and the results will start falling in love with you. Somewhere along the line, we were told this lie too. If I hit this rank, then I'll be happy. If I finish 75 hard, then life changes. If I lose the weight, if I make the money, if I win the medal, right? This if and then condition and action is the most dangerous sentence in achievement culture. Because it's not an if and then. It's who you become while you're going for it. That's what changes your life. Great example was last night, the Seahawks and Patriots, right? Both teams 14-3 going into the biggest game, the championship game, right? And every year, I think a team goes from the bottom to playing for the championship. And do you think it was one win that changed them? Was it one win in the season that changed them? Especially the Patriots. They went from 4-13 to 13 or 14-3. No, and you hear it in the interviews. It was the winter workouts that nobody saw. It was the film sessions. It was the trust that was built. It was the consistency. Winning didn't transform them. The process did. Because championships are visible, but the transformation along the way is invisible until it isn't. Let me ask you something I want you to really, really think about. Where are you right now? And where do you know you are capable of going? Seriously. Don't jump to the summit. Ask yourself, what's the next logical step? Not the miracle step, not the fantasy step, the repeatable step, right? I look at it this way. Intensity impresses people briefly, but consistency makes yourself unforgettable. Be the person that people describe like this. If Tom says he's dialing, he dials. If Paige says she's showing up, she shows up. If Bridget commits, it's done. Right? Your reputation is not built on your best days. It's built on your most predictable days. What about you? I love the Winter Olympics and read this story diving into Callie Humphreys. She's Olympic bobsledder. I think she's been on top of her sport for 20 years. And they interviewed her and they said, what's your secret? Again, what's the secret? And through this interview, they broke this down. And it came out that all she does is do the right thing every 2 hours. Yes, she sets a 4-year goal. Yes, she sets a year goal. Yes, she sets a quarterly goal, a 90-day, a 30-day, a 60-day goal, a 1-week goal, a daily goal. But it's doing the right thing every 2 hours is what really makes her consistent. It's not the heroic effort. It's the standard-based behavior. Prolonged success is shockingly boring. It's visualizing the run, it's nutrition, practice, sleep, recovery over and over and over again. And even after I was putting this together, I was watching the Italian speed skater. I forget her last name. Her first name's Francesca. God bless you if you can spell her last name. But um, it was her birthday. She won gold on her birthday. Brand new mom, the whole thing. And here's what she said in the interview, and it really hit home. She said, I was sick earlier in the season, and I wanted to come into the games fit. And I worked day and night in all things, all aspects to get better and stronger. And because of that, I was smiling the entire race as I knew the hard work that I put in just to get here. Yes, it was a special day for me. Yes, it was a special day for my family, but I put in the work. That's why I was smiling the entire race. Think about that. And athletes, you look at there's studies all over the place. You look at Olympic athletes in the I guess I would call it the non-mainstream sports. Michael Phelps went through this. They develop their mindset for 4 years to get to the top of the mountain. And do you know that depression hits 90% of the Olympic athletes next week or the week after the Olympics when it's over? Because they've worked so hard to get there, and now there's nothing. So just keep that in mind. Stop obsessing about raising your ceiling and start raising your floor. Make your bad days better. Not a zero activity, not disappearing, just professional. When your bad days look disciplined, right, your future gets dangerous. And I want to kill another myth here while we're at it. Raise your hand if you've ever heard the statement, get 1% better every day. I'm going to bust that myth right now. Because if you're brand new here, 1% better is not going to give you the time you need to be successful. It's not. Bridget, quick math. What's 1%? What's 1% better of 1? 1.1, right? Having 1.1 appointments over one appointment is not going to help. You have to get 100% better very fast. You have to get 1,000%, million% better really fast to stay successful here. Whether that's dialing, make that huge jump. Whether it's booking appointments, whether it's closing clients, helping families, make that huge jump. You're going to see a big jump. I did when I started, Paige, you did when you started. Same thing, right? It was bigger than 1%. And then your growth slows a little bit. Maybe it's 50% better. Maybe it's 10. Maybe it's 5. Maybe it's 1% better. And then it probably gets to where it's 0.5% better. It might be one word in your presentation that makes a huge difference to success, right? But that's where most people quit. Most people quit when it's the 1% or the 0.5, because we all call it a plateau. It's not a plateau. It's pressure building before the breakthrough. And I'll say this because I'm guilty of this. If you rely on visible progress for motivation, you're going to be emotionally burnt out. You've got to learn to find these 3 things: joy in the work, pride in the effort, strength in the community. Look around this Zoom call. This is why we don't climb alone here, is everybody on this group. This is why we all go to the mastermind that's called the Ignite Conference, because it's a group mastermind of everybody that wants success for you. You don't do this alone. So think about this, right? Every day you show up, every dial, every appointment, every uncomfortable conversation, you're making deposits. And one day what look like small deposits turn into a life very few people get to live. I'll leave you with this. Do not chase intensity. Build consistency. Do not chase motivation. Build standards. Fall in love with the peak, or do not fall in love with the peak. You can go to the peak, but fall in love with the climb. Man, I screwed that up. Fall in love with the climb, right? See, we all make mistakes because it is a head down, it's hard open. Show up again tomorrow and the next day and the next. Because people who win here are simply the ones who refuse to stop climbing. Let's get back on this mountain. Legacy isn't built on explosive days. It's built on the repeatable ones. That's all I got, team, for today. Go find your climb.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to add that was great, man. That was really, really good. And everybody needs to, you said a lot of good things in there. Because if you'll make dial, well, let's go back to the baseline, right? The baseline is making enough dials. That's effort. Um, and so today, if you haven't been dialing, guys, call for an hour and a half, right? And see what happens. And then reach out to your mentor, Michael Haggis. Michael's on here. He did that to me the other day. He's been out of the game a little bit. I mean, if you dial for an hour and a half 1 day a week and you want to make a lot of money here, obviously that's not going to happen. But if you dial an hour and a half every day or more, I'm just being conservative. So I loved your message, buddy. It's just about consistency. It's not, well, look how good Tom is and look how good Paige is. The skill comes later, right? And you could be the biggest knucklehead in the world, and if you had double-digit appointments every week, you would make money here. Okay, so I just wanted to say great job on that because the, all this other stuff that might be a little bit esoteric, this just get on the phone and call for an hour and a half, and then go to your mentor and say, hey, this is this guy said this, and this guy said he doesn't have a mortgage anymore, and this guy's, and then we'll be glad to coach you up. But Tom's message is exactly right, and I love how you put it in there, buddy, with emotion because this business has changed a lot of people's lives that are on this phone right now. How we get to live, the freedom of schedule, the good income. That remember, most of the time you work for somebody else and you're making a six-figure income, which most people don't do. You're just tied to whatever they want, 40, 50 hours a week, the whole bit. We're here, a lot of people make six figures. I mean, a lot. But they have the freedom to go to the soccer game and the parent teacher conference and the baseball tryout, right? All that stuff. And so that's what living the life is, in my opinion, Tom, is having a good income and the freedom to enjoy it, whatever that means to you. Okay. So really good job, buddy.
Well, thank you. And I think it boils down to kind of what you said too. Those that bust through that little plateau of progress is are those that are working, doing the work, putting it in and saying, hey Paige, I did this, and this today. I feel like I'm struggling. What should I do next if you were me?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've earned that answer because you've actually done the work and not just said, Paige, this isn't working for me. Right? That's shallow. So anyway, Bridget, Paige, you guys got anything or are we good?
No, that's just awesome, Tommy. Again, back to the basics. Just be consistent, do the things. And like you just said, Tom, reach out so that we know where to help you. And we can't help you unless you're doing the things, tracking your numbers, so we can see where's the best way to focus. Because when you're new, you always want to focus on the stuff that's easier for you. I want to research all the products, that kind of thing. just be consistent. Start with nothing happens without the phone. You guys might have heard me say that before. It's true. So I loved it, Tommy. Great message.
And I'll issue a challenge for everybody that goes to Ignite. Talk to somebody that's at the top of the company. And you're going to hear their journeys are so different, but you're going to hear one thing that's very similar. They fell in love with the climb and the work. They worked behind the scenes. They worked in the quiet. They built their championship team in the quiet, in the background. Then they celebrated when they got to the top. True, that's true of anyone that's had any success here. It's built in the quiet. It's built in the conversations that are hard. It's built in the moments that don't show up on leaderboards. That's when it does pop on a leaderboard, that means the hard work is just being recognized. That's it. And the person that you grow into and the consistency that you build allows you to show up on those even more. So, everybody, have an amazing Monday. Hope this helped. Hope this gave you a little kickstart for a Monday. And let's all go out and make an impact today. Whatever that impact is for you, go do it and be your best at it. Fall in love with the process, and eventually you'll be standing on top of the world. I promise.
Thanks, Tommy. Have a great day, everybody.